What have we learned in previous drafts? We've been doing this since the 2015 draft. What have we learned that has gone into the way we shape our draft board today?
I think one of the biggest things I've learned is density matters. Not necessarily size. There's some positions where size does matter. But density is big in terms of if a guy is, so Andy Isabella is 5'8" and 5'8" or whatever and 188 pounds. If a guy is 6'3" and 188 pounds, that's a big, or 6'3", 200 pounds even, you're not as dense as Andy Isabella.
Right.
You are smaller, like in a football sense, than Andy Isabella. You're not going to be able to fight through hands as well as Andy Isabella, as you are, just don't have as much strength on your frame, even if maybe you're explosive, whatnot. You are not as dense, and that density is a big thing in terms of being able to play the game of football.
That's a good.
Like a Bob Sanders being one of the hardest hitters at like 200 pounds because he's 5'8". 5'8", 200 pounds is a lot different than 6'2", 200
Russell
pounds.
Wilson.
Yeah, Russell
Very
Wilson
dense.
is not, only 205 pounds. Russell Wilson, she should be injury prone. No, because he's a running back, built like running back.
Right. So build matters. I think the biggest thing for all of us is the whole run game and how much we've devalued the run game. Even before we started studying it even more, I think we knew that the pass game was more valuable, but it's like getting to the extreme end of value. And it's not just running backs. There was a couple years ago we thought we had a great defensive line class because of how well guys stopped the run. Even when I started scouting prospects, because we have a great video system where we could sort good and bad plays, I would always start with the run game. Let me see how this guy plays the run, and then we'll get to his pass rushing. I don't want to say I didn't watch the run game this year in the scouting process, but it's certainly more of an afterthought. So it's all about how guys can affect the pass game first, and the board is going to reflect that in a lot of places.
And I think to some degree, that has impacted what I think of athleticism and passing game. Athleticism far more of a factor. And I don't want to be a team that drafts real poop athletes, like really bad athletes. I'm not going to take the risk on bad athletes, guys who really are on the 25th percentile or lower in terms of NFL athleticism. I just don't want anything to do with them.
A lot of time that matches up with a lot of the on-field stuff, but we do run into this issue of sometimes there really are guys that aren't great athletes that are good college linebackers or good. You talked about density. We've run into a lot of guys that have had really good pass rushing grades, like a Sutton Smith, like a Shalik Calhoun, who are just so slight that it is tough for them to translate to the next level. The other part is a lot of those guys are just filtered out by the NFL anyway. They've kind of been
self-selected out.
Yes. Yeah. They've been biased, using that in quotes, against those guys anyway, because I think they've realized it's tough for a guy that's 230 to truly rush the passer at the next level consistently because of a power issue. The one other thing I'm learning, again, the more the analytics team gets in my ear, is the idea that you don't have to necessarily hit on every pick. I used to think, all right, just hit on every pick. Draft good players. Yes, I got the shirt. Draft good players. Over time, that's the way to do it. I'm much more willing now to think about
swing for the fences.
Take shots on high value positions. Only because
that's very baseball analytics of you too. Home runs being more valuable.
Yeah. Home runs, walks,
singles.
Just get on base. But it's like putting a betting line on things. Not every bet is the same, right? So hitting on a running back does not give you the same return as hitting on a cornerback, right? Hitting on a quarterback, of course, is astronomical. So from a quarterback standpoint, where we used to say, well, LOL, Jake Locker, bust, Blaine Gabbert, bust. We see all these guys that are bust, and granted, those guys were probably third-round prospects anyway. But I don't think I'm going to hate on teams as much. Even, say, Josh Allen last year. We had a late first on him. I don't want to hate on teams as much for taking shots at the quarterback position, as long as the Bills a year from now aren't saying, well, we got to wait for Josh Allen to develop. We got to wait for him to develop.
But that's the thing is, like,
as long as you're willing to move on quickly within 2 years, I don't mind taking shots at the quarterback position, because when you hit on them, it's worth 50 times what you would get from hitting on another position.
Yeah, like everyone laughed at the Mike Glennon deal. And, I mean, rightfully so, it didn't work out. But I think the process was sound in terms of, hey, we have to try. Like, if it doesn't work out, we're in the same boat as we were before, and that's we're a bad team. We're a bad football team. If we don't sign them, we're a bad football team. If we do sign them and it doesn't work out.
We saw people making fun of
a good football team if it does.
We saw people making fun of the Matt Flynn deal this week, saying, haha, remember when the Seahawks thought Matt Flynn was a franchise quarterback? And now they just paid Russell Wilson the most money.
Yeah.
But at the time, Matt Flynn was making what, like low-end starter money, high-end backup money. They didn't know that Russell Wilson was going to be there in the third round and become their guy. Mm-hmm. And if you look at it at a grand scale of Seattle went into the 2012 offseason saying, I need a quarterback. How do we do it? They paid some money for Matt Flynn. They drafted Russell Wilson in the third round, and they got a Russell Wilson out of it.
Yeah.
From a macro view, it's like, well, all right, that's a great way to find a quarterback. And it's not like they were tied to Matt Flynn at a crippling number in...
Matt Flynn did throw for 480 yards in a football game in the NFL against
Matt Flynn spurred that YouTube video from the dude calling Aaron Rodgers a systems quarterback, right? Wasn't it all that? Do you ever see that ridiculousness?
No.
Oh, you didn't see that?
Before my time, apparently.
You had to go YouTube before your time? Come on. Go look it up. Aaron Rodgers, systems quarterback.
Okay.
Systems quarterback. Because Matt Flynn kept coming in, throwing for 400 and 5 or 6 touchdowns a game or whatever he was doing, right? And the Packers didn't miss a beat. Therefore, Aaron Rodgers is easily replaceable per some random dude in his mom's basement on YouTube.
I will
check
watch
it out.
After this.